Well, we have this whole month been using the theme of the way of the heart, which is one that I feel kind of close to. And our topic this morning is called the power of forgiveness. Forgiveness is one of the basic practices that we have learned over time that we need to do time and time again, or not. How many of you have done your forgiveness work and it is finished? You have put a check mark on that and it's done. Been there, done that. I don't see a lot of hands. There's one. You've done it, and you don't need to do it anymore. Is that right? Okay. All right. I'm going to... New stuff happens. Most of us are not done with it, and I'll tell you why. Because new stuff happens. It has been my experience that life happens, and it changes, it evolves, it grows, it expands upon itself. It gives us new opportunities that we have not had before. And with that, most of us in our humanness have the opportunity time and time again to practice. That's why it's a practice, because you need to do it more than once, because life is not static. It is changing. And we are in that flow, want to be able to keep in the flow. When we have this work of forgiveness or not forgiving, what it does is it opens up our channels. When we forgive, what we're doing is we're letting go. We're releasing. And because life is going to flow one way or the other, but we have the choice whether we want to flow with it or if we want to dig our heels in. If we want to constrict and stop the flow of this divine energy, we can do that. I mean, we can't literally stop our fingernails from growing, and we can't literally hold our breath to the point that we won't breathe, because we'll automatically breathe, right? But we can, in psychological matters, in heart matters, in thinking matters, we can choose to constrict this life force or not that is flowing through us. And so I think it's a good thing to remember that forgiveness, letting go of the past, opens us up. It allows us to trust life that is happening in the now. In the Thought for the Week that I wrote, which I took a lot of the ideas from The Way of Mastery, that's what this theme is all about, is from The Way of Mastery. And it had a quote in there. It said, "The opposite of forgiveness is judgment, and judgment always creates separation and guilt." And so our judgment is the constriction. And many times when we forgive, we relax, we release, we let it go. It's an opening. I have a quote from the infamous Unknown that said, "When you harbor bitterness, happiness will dock elsewhere." And many times, having an unforgiving heart is bitterness, is resentment. It's wanting something to have been a different way than the way it was. And it wasn't what I wanted. Therefore, I'm mad, and I'm going to stay mad. One of the bitter pills to swallow is that when we see something going on in life and other people, the bitter pill is, it takes one to know one. What that means, I would not see it in you if it were not first in me. And we look at some atrocities that people do to others and so forth, and we think, there's just no way I could ever do that. We're not condoning actions like that. We're not saying, yes, that you're a person because you observe someone murder someone, that you're going to murder someone. But there's nuances there. How many times have you said to yourself, I would never? And then, a month, a year, a decade later, you find yourself, gee, you know what, I said that I would never, but guess what, I did. And I'm not judging whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. It's just the fact that when we have this mindset, I would never do that, guess what? Life might give you an opportunity to look at it in another way. So the act of forgiveness is one that we do for ourselves, literally for ourselves, to let go of our judgments, of our preconceived notions that come from within us. That's the only one we have to work with. We can't change anybody else. The only person we can change, the only person that we can work with is ourselves. The Way of Mastery says that every single experience is neutral. And it is our interpretation, it is our attitude, our perspective on it that creates what we say it is. Every experience is neutral until we apply something to it. And it also is talking about the fact that wouldn't it be great if you start out every morning, every day, and saying, I'm in school today. I wonder what my lesson is going to be. What's the lesson that I'm going to learn today? And when situations arise, what is this moment teaching me? What is this moment teaching me? The universe is conspiring to awaken you and heal you. Trust it. I wouldn't be in this situation if there wasn't some gift here for me to experience. Something, even if I'm in my feet are held to the fire. You know, there's a lot of the fire is burning. How can I come through this and beyond it? This is another one I really enjoyed from the book. It says, when life gives you an opportunity to be disturbed, anybody ever had the opportunity to be disturbed? That is a sign that there is something that needs healing. Count it as a blessing. I'm disturbed. Oh, great. This is an opportunity. Where is my lesson? How am I going to get through this, right? Most of us bury our hurts. We get hurt because of expectations that we give ourselves or others' judgments, and we hurt. And we don't like that. So we bury it. We stuff it. We put it down, and we want to ignore it, right? Because it'll go away then. And I was having a talk with my coach this week, and she said there is such an allure to stay stuck in the past. Because when we have those hurts, whether we consciously remember them or subconsciously remember them, they're there. And there is an allure to go to the past. And so she gave me the exercise. She said, when something happens, let's just say, okay, so I had polio when I was 5 years old. Period. It happened. Period. She said, whatever the experience was, put a period on it. Don't add a comma. When we add the comma, we are adding the drama to it. Oh, gee, I can't raise my arm anymore. Ah. It happened. Get over it. Let it be. It was in the past. What are you doing today? And it's helpful for me because I recognize when I put those commas in there. And then I add all the drama to it. Just let it go. It was in the past. It gave you what it gave you at that point, so let's move on. In the Science of Mind textbook, Ernest Holmes addresses Jesus' teaching that he gave us about forgiveness in Matthew chapter 18, verse 21 and 22, when he instructs us to forgive how many times? 70 times 7, right? Okay. So Ernest Holmes says, this is but another way of saying that forgiveness is eternal and ever available. What a load is dropped from the shoulders of personal responsibility when we realize that the eternal mind holds not against anyone. The mind which condemns understands not the truth of being, and the heart which should shut the door of its bosom to one who is mistaken strangles its own life, closing its eyes to a greater vision. The biggest life is the one which includes the most. Not that we foster vice or place a premium upon wrongdoing, but that we understand the frailties of human nature and learn to overlook much. To him who loves much, much is forgiven. To just let it go and not emphasize it. In the Lord's Prayer, Jesus gave us the instruction, and I think most of us are familiar with the version that says, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. In the Aramaic version that I say quite a bit, it says, loose the cords of mistakes binding us as we release the strands we hold of others' guilt. Says the same thing, but in a little bit different nuance. But the key to it here is that we are involved as we release. So that we are doing it, this act of forgiving, letting go. We're asking God, which is where? Everywhere, but within us. We're asking God to forgive us as we forgive. It's going to be done unto us as we do it. So we are the ones that have to take the action. I have a little book that I got in our bookstore, on our gift shop. I don't know if there's more of them back there or not, but it's a little book that says The Little Book on Forgiving. And it's written by Rick Kitzman. And the subline to it is a surrender in 7 steps towards peace and freedom. And I wanted to read to you at the beginning of it. It says, forgiving defined. To forgive is an act of love. It is an expression of love for yourself and for the subject you forgive. Forgiving transforms your mind where you conceive it and your heart where you feel it. You begin to forgive when you think your first thought about forgiving. Each single solitary second is ripe with this potential. You choose which moment to begin, consciously or not. Personal peace and fulfilling freedom are only a thought away, but not without first forgiving. To forgive means that you surrender all feelings of retaliation, revenge, and repayment toward the subject that you perceive has hurt you. Forgiving does not include overlooking or justifying a kind of behavior like dishonesty or violence or drinking or drugging. Forgiving does not include absolution for an admitted offense. You may never get such an admission. That is to condone, to excuse, or to pardon, but not to forgive. To forgive is unconditional. To forgive is an act of courage and empowerment. To forgive is an act of healing, your healing. When you heal, the world heals, and the world is in great need of your efforts. And then it goes on to give the 7 steps of forgiveness, and they are, number 1, which he mentioned there, decide to forgive. Number 2, let go and set loose. Clarify your feelings. This is a big one for me. What am I feeling? How many times have I denied my feelings? I wanted to suppress them. I don't know that feeling. I don't like that feeling. I'm not going to feel it. Well, clarify your feelings. Look at the good. Choose what became of this. Yeah, there was something in this experience that wasn't good. When I was on the phone, I was saying how they had the polio and that because of that, this and this couldn't have happened. Well, what did happen, though, because of it? Well, I I wanted to be a singer on Broadway. That's where I wanted to be when I was 5 years old, you know? And darn it, I just couldn't do that. I just didn't feel like I could do that anymore. Well, where did it send you? Well, it sent me in, because I love to sing, I love to perform. Well, I'm still singing, you know, in the choir, in Martin Luther King Jr. choir, and I'm performing. I love to get up here and share these thought ideas that come through every week. And so God made a different plan, and I think it's pretty good. Believe differently is number 5. Number 6, surrender. Relinquish that control. And number 7, picture your perfect peace. Liberate your freedom. And so it ends with the declaration of forgiveness on page 135. And this is a great book because it gives you all sorts of exercises throughout it to participate in, processes to do. So my declaration to forgive. It says, add any changes you desire, make them positive. In other words, this isn't just static, you do it yourself. O nameless force of mine, with this thought I align myself with you, capital. I know your power is the power within me. I declare right now that I forgive blank. I release my capacity to love blank. At this very moment, I feel relief. My mind, body, and emotions relax. My heart fills with warmth, and I feel, fill in the blank. I find and know the good of this experience. I feel compassion toward blank. Clear thinking is mine. I believe, fill in the blank. My peace is, fill in the blank. I am free to, fill in the blank. Thank you for my growth. Thank you for this experience. Thank you for this lesson that I had the opportunity to have. Deepak Chopra said, forgiveness is born of increased awareness. The more you can see, the easier it is to forgive. It kind of reminded me a little bit of what Ernest Holmes had said. The increased vision. How do you increase your awareness? You're increasing your vision. What more can I see? What more can I see is that love is all around me. That all I know is love. All I need is love. Love is all there is. That's what my increased vision is all about. Seeing that. Knowing that this divine energy is unlimited, infinite within me, within each of us. When we take the opportunity, when we take the idea to allow it, to open up to it. I was sent an email that I wanted to share with you. I know this is familiar to you. It was familiar to me, but it's a good reminder. It's talking about the magic bank account. It says, imagine that you had won the following prize in a contest. Each morning, your bank account would deposit $86,400 in your private account for your use. How did you win this prize? What are the rules? They are, number 1, everything that you didn't spend during each day would be taken away from you. Number 2, you may not simply transfer money into another account. Number 3, you may only spend it. Number 4, each morning upon awakening, your bank opens your account with another $86,400 for that day. Number 5, the bank can end the game without warning. At any time, it can say, game over. It can close the account, and you will not receive a new one. What would you personally do? You would buy anything and everything you wanted to, right? Not only for yourself, but for all the people you love and you care for, even for the people you don't even know, because you couldn't possibly spend it all on yourself, right? You would try to spend every penny and use it because you knew it would be replenished in the next morning, right? Actually, this game is real. Shocked? Yes. I know you've guessed what it is. The prize is time. Each morning we awaken to receive 86,400 seconds as a gift of life. And when we go to sleep at night, any remaining time is not credited to us. We cannot build it up. What we haven't used up that day is forever lost. So a minute wasted is gone forever. Yesterday is gone forever. Each morning the account is refilled, but the bank can dissolve your account at any time without any warning. Your time is up. So, what are you going to do with your 86,400 seconds? Those seconds are worth so much more than the same amount in dollars. Think about it and remember to enjoy every second of your life because time races on by so much quicker than you think. So take care of yourself, be happy, love deeply, and enjoy life. Here's wishing you a wonderful and beautiful day. Start spending. Don't complain about growing old. Some people don't get that privilege. That is the way it is, don't you think? That is. It's time, and when we recognize that, it's a true story. So every moment is ready, the threshold for the next one. Every breath we take is a new one. So we let go of that past. We let it be. Our life is for living now in the present. I got not Christmas, not birthday. What do we just have? Mother's Day. I got a Mother's Day present from my son, and it's a Fitbit, they call it. It's a little watch you wear. Yes. And it tells the time, but then it also keeps track of how many steps you take. And it has this little intuitive thing in it, so that if, like yesterday when I was sitting typing, my talk, I'm, sitting there reading and typing, it buzzed at me, it vibrated. And I looked down at it and said, just do 46 more. And so it's encouraging me to get up and move, and so it kind of tells you different things. So, I usually take a walk, every day. Well, when I had this on, and the first time that I experienced it vibrating, I'm on my walk, I'm walking along, and all of a sudden, this left arm just starts vibrating like a lot. And my first thought was, oh my God, am I having a heart attack? And then I looked down at it, and there were all these like little stars, bursts of stars, and firework things, and I had walked 10,000 steps. And I'm like, oh, so I hit my goal. That's the goal, to walk 10,000 steps every day, which is a little over 4 miles, I think, or something. And I thought, oh, good, it was a good thing. It wasn't. But how many of us in life, when something happens that's a surprise, a little shock, something that we're not ready for, we first freak out over it? Like, oh my God. Well, guess what? It was a good thing. You don't need to freak out over it. You're not having a heart attack. So remember that life is for us, always. I go back to the little plaque that Liz gave me when I moved into my new home that she made, and all it says simply is, trust me, period, with the period, God. Very simple. If we can just trust, period, this life energy that is flowing through us, letting it be, learning, growing, evolving, being more than we were yesterday, spending our time and our love and our energy today as it is given to us. Use your 86,400 seconds today to be happy, to be joyous, to give this love that you are. And then you won't even have to think about forgiving. And so it is. Namaste.